Hi everyone, my name is Sanjeev. In this video, I will demo how to use Anypoint Flex Gateway to manage and secure non-Mule APIs. I will demo how to manage and secure APIs that are not implemented in Mule. What is Anypoint Flex Gateway? Anypoint Flex Gateway is envoy-based, ultra-fast, lightweight API gateway designed to manage and secure APIs running anywhere. It is based on envoy and it's a super fast, ultra fast. So Anypoint Flex Gateway is based on Envoy project. This project provide a very lightweight API gateway. We can use Anypoint Flex Gateway to manage and secure APIs that are running on anywhere in any architecture in any language. So if API is implemented in any language, we can manage and secure that API using Anypoint Flex Gateway. We use Mule API Gateway to secure the APIs that are implemented in MuleSoft. But to secure the APIs that are not implemented in Mule, we can use Anypoint Flex Gateway. So in this demo, I will secure the APIs that are implemented in Spring Boot. Flex Gateway architecture, it have two component control plane and the runtime plane. The control plane that is managed by MuleSoft has runtime manager, API manager, monitoring. So you can manage the API, create the policies on API using the control plane, which is a MuleSoft hosted part of the architecture. And then we have a runtime where we have Flex Gateway, FlexWay controller, Envoy proxy, and the Fluent wait. Envoy proxy is the very lightweight. It provides the gateway that can be configured dynamically. Runtime component is hosted by customer in customer environment. It have runtime manager client. It have policy engine, and it also have the policies that is configured in API manager. Fluent wait, it is used to collect the metrics and logs. We can deploy the Anypoint Flex Gateway in two mode, connected mode and local mode. In the connected mode, gateway is fully connected to the MuleSoft control plane. So we can use the control plane UI to manage the API lifecycle and to configure the policies. We can use the Anypoint Manager UI. But in case of local mode, Anypoint Flex Gateway is not connected to the control plane. So we need to configure the policies using a configuration file. Getting started with the Flex Gateway. Flex Gateway can run on Linux. So it supports these Linux variant. It can also run on Docker. So we can install on Docker as well. And it can run on Kubernetes as well. So for detail, let me go to the Anypoint platform. Here I will go to the runtime manager. Here I will click the Flex Gateways. Here I can add a new gateway. So I will click Add Gateways. So Flex Gateway can run in these environments. We can select the environment, operating system or environment where Flex Gateway can be run. So in this demo, I will run on container and I will run on Docker container. So I selected container and Docker. Now I will follow these steps to register and run the Flex Gateway. First, I will pull the Docker image using this command. I have installed the Docker desktop already on my Windows laptop. And this is the Flex Gateway image. I will run the pull command again to show you how to pull the Flex Gateway. So I will go to the command prompt. I have created a directory under Mule, Flex Gateway, Flex Registration. I will go to the command prompt in this directory. I will copy the command docker pull to pull the Docker image, Flex Gateway Docker image. So it was very fast because I already have this image. But in your case, if you are downloading first time, you are pulling first time, it might take little bit time. I already have the latest image, so there is no change required. Now, the step 2, they're saying actually create a Flex registration directory. I already created a directory Flex registration, and that's where I'm running the command Flex registration. And in this command, I will provide the name of the Flex gateway that I want to create. So let me copy this docker run command and I will paste it in my notepad. I have to do a few changes here. First of all, I need to replace this backslash with the caret because in Windows command, I have to use the caret for continuation of the line. So I will go to the edit, replace, and I will replace backslash with the caret. So I replaced the backslash with the caret. Here we need to provide the present directory because pwd does not exist in a Windows command prompt. So I will copy the full path, directory path here. I will replace this. And for UID, I will get the value for this UID as well. So for that, I will right click here. So more options. I will go to the git bash and here I will echo $UID. So this is my UID. I will copy this. Let me copy the UID. So this is my UID. Let me replace this. I will close this window. This is the token for security because I'm running this command in my laptop. MuleSoft will recognize the request using this token and it will create a registration file in this directory. Once I run this command, once I register the Flex Gateway, for gateway name, I will give the name API Gateway Spring Boot because I'm going to secure and manage the Spring Boot API. So I will give the name API Gateway Spring Boot. Let me copy this command. I will go to the command prompt, paste it, hit enter. So starting registration, please be patient. Let me open another window. Anypoint, MuleSoft.com, Runtime Manager, Flex Gateway. So API Gateway Spring Boot disconnected. We saw a record here. This is the name we gave. So we are able to see this gateway, but is in disconnected mode right now. So we registered the gateway, API Gateway Spring Boot. And we should see this file registration.yaml. We can observe this file here. Registration.yaml file has been created. We can open this. So it have a configuration, kind is configuration, and it is for registration, Flex Gateway registration. And this is the name of the gateway that we gave, API Gateway Spring Boot. And it is having the TLS certificate. So this is certificate. So this provide the security detail to communicate to the Anypoint platform control plane. Now I will go to the Anypoint platform and I will copy the third step, command to run the third step. It will start the gateway. I will copy the command here. I will replace the print working directory as we did in previous step. So I'll copy the complete path, replace it. I will replace the backslash with the caret because we are running in Windows command prompt. Now command is in one line and line break is provided by caret. Now I will run the Flex Gateway, paste it, click enter. Now we should see this in the connected state. So API Gateway Spring Boot is in connected state, is connected. Because when we registered as a connected as equal to true, and that's why we are able to connect to the control plane, MuleSoft control plane. We copy this command from here in second step, and we are using the option connected as equal to true. And we can see that API Gateway Spring Boot is registered and it's started in connected mode. Now I will use this gateway, Anypoint Flex Gateway, API Gateway Spring Boot that we just registered, and it's running in connected mode. I will use this to secure my Spring Boot APIs. So I have two Spring Boot APIs. Let me run them first. So here is my greet and hello two APIs. They are written in a Spring Boot. I will go to the command prompt and I will run the command maven command, maven spring boot run to run the Spring Boot REST API. So this will start my hello API. As you can see, this is a Spring Boot API. So process is running. Now I will go to the another command prompt and I will start my greet API, greet Spring Boot API. So I will go to the command prompt and I will run the maven command to start the Spring Boot API. So this is also a Spring Boot API and it's also running. So let me invoke these APIs. Localhost 8081 API hello. Here I'm running the hello API. Sorry, it's running on 8091. So hello there. This is hello API. Now I will show you the greet API, greeting API that is running on port 8092 slash API slash greeting. Greeting, hi there, this is a greeting API. So I have two Spring Boot API. First one is running on 8091, another one is running on 8092. First one is hello API running on 8091, another one is greeting API that is running on 8092. So because we are using Docker, so instead of localhost, I will find the IP address of my laptop. So I will go to the command prompt again and I will get the configuration for ipconfig, and this is my address, IPv4 address. I will copy this. Let me close this command prompt. I will paste this value here. So instead of localhost, I can use this IP address also to invoke the hello API and the greeting API. So this is a greeting API, greeting, hi there. This is a greeting API. Similarly, I will go to 8091 API hello, and this is my hello API. So I can use this IP address of my laptop to access the Spring Boot APIs. Now I will secure these APIs using Flex Gateway that we already started. It's running here in connected mode. I will use this Flex Gateway to manage and secure my APIs. Because we are using connected mode, so I will use the control plane UI to manage the API. So I will go to the API manager. Here I will add a API, add new API. I will use Flex Gateway to manage and secure API. And here I will select the API Gateway Spring Boot connected mode and click next. Create new API. Here I will give the name Hello API. API type, I need to select either REST API or HTTP API. For REST API, we need to have a RAML or OAS definition. So I will select the HTTP API. Click next. Here I will use port 8081. So let me show you what is 8081. So when we run the Docker command, Docker run, to run the Flex Gateway, I use the port 8081. I expose the 8081 port, my laptop port to the container port. So I can use the 8081 here when I am configuring my API in API manager. I'm using port 8081. It's available. It's exposed in a Flex Gateway. For base path, I can select slash or I can say API because both of my API have slash API in a base path. I will click next. Here I will give the route name. So I will say hello API route. And here upstream, I will give the hello API. And here I will provide the URL. So for URL, I will select this. I will copy it here and I will remove the hello part. So I have a HTTP colon slash slash, then IP address 8091 slash API slash. Click next. So I have runtime Flex Gateway. This is the target. Name of the Flex Gateway. This is the API that we are defining. And here is the base path and this is the port we are using. To save and deploy, let me go to the command prompt. API definition should be pushed here so we can see the changes here. They are coming. So this is the URL for API and this is the port and base path we are using and this is the path for upstream API. Those changes has come. Now I can access this API not only on port 8091 but also on 8081. So I will go to the localhost 8081 slash API slash hello and we can see the result. Hello there, this is hello API. So here we are going to the Flex Gateway and then Flex Gateway is routing to the API. So here is my hello API I can go to the settings. This is the definition of API that we just configured. And here we can go to the view configuration detail. So we can see the pictorially how the communication happening. Client is calling API gateway and it is trying to invoke 8081/API, and then it is going to the 8091/API. So communication happening through the API gateway and it is reaching to the hello API. Here we are directly accessing the API and here we are going through the Flex Gateway. We need to disable this direct invocation because we should only allow the communication through Flex Gateway, and that is where we will apply the policies and will secure our API. So in a production environment, we should not allow direct access. We should avoid this. Now I will go to the API manager and here I will apply the policies. So we can secure this API, Spring Boot API, Hello API. We can add policy. So click add policy. So let me apply a simple policy, basic authentication. Click next. Here I will give the username Spring Boot H and same password. Click apply. Now policy will be downloaded here. You should see some changes in a moment. Change has been come here. So policy has been downloaded to the Flex Gateway. So we can see that adding policy. So we are here adding the policy so that related configuration has been changed here in Flex Gateway. Now if I will access the API through Flex Gateway, it should ask for user password. So click enter. So now you can see that it asking username password. So I can give the username password Spring Boot H, same password, sign in, and we can access the API. So we are able to apply the policy. We are able to secure this API. Now we can apply one more policy. Add policy. We can apply a rate limiting policy. Click next. Number of requests 2, time period 1 minute, expose header, apply. Now the policy will be downloaded here in Flex Gateway. Okay, policy has been applied. Now if we will access this API again, we should get a rate limiting error after 2 access in a minute. So I'm accessing first access, now accessing second time, and this time accessing third time again, and it should fail now. So you can see that error, too many requests. So we are able to secure this API, Hello API, using Flex Gateway, and this is not a Mule API, it's API written in a Spring Boot. Now I will add a greeting API as well here. So I will go to the API manager, add new API, add new API. I will use Flex Gateway. I will select the API Gateway Spring Boot, click next, create new API. I will give the name greeting API, type HTTP API, click next. Port 8081, base API, I will say /API, click next. So we got a path conflict because we already have the API on port 8081, that is Hello API, which is using base path /API. So we have to use different port. I can use 8082. Click next. I will create a route. Greeting API route, and here I will give the upstream label greeting API, and I will copy the path. And remove the greeting at the end. So I have given the HTTP, my IP address, then 8092/API/. Click next. This is using Flex Gateway, greeting API, port is 8082/API. Click save and deploy. So this will be pushed here in Flex Gateway in a moment. So we got the new API. This is old one and this is new one, 8092. So we have a greeting API as well here. So if I will go to the 8082/API/greeting, we should be able to access. So we are not able to access this API because we gave the port 8082. And if you remember here, when we ran this Docker command, we only exposed the 8081. So we need to expose the 8082 port as well to access the greeting API through the Flex Gateway. So I will close this, Control C, Flex Gateway. Now I will modify the command. I will provide the port expose from 8081 to 8082, and inside container 8081 to 8082. I will copy the command again. I will go to the command prompt and I will run this command. Now we are exposing 8081 and 8082 both. Click enter. This will start the Flex Gateway again. It have both the APIs, Hello API and Greeting API, all the policies as well. So now I will go to the browser. Now if I will click enter, I should be able to access it. So now we are able to access it. Greeting, hi there. This is a greeting. It's already got invoked and we are able to see the result. We are able to access 8081 Hello API and 8082 Greeting API through Flex Gateway. Now here you can see that we have a different port. We used a two port of the Flex Gateway, 8081 and 8082. So Hello API is using 8081 and Greeting API is using 8082. So Greeting API is using 8082 port. Now I will show you how to use same port for two different APIs. So I will delete this API, delete API, delete. I will go to the Exchange and delete the API from there as well. Now we have Hello API. I will go to the API manager again. Now I will add new API greeting API on Flex Gateway. I will select API Gateway, click Next. I will create a new API. I will give the name Greeting API, type is HTTP API. And here I will use the port 8081. That is same port that we are using in Hello API as well. But I will change the base path. So I will say API/G, click Next. Path conflict. Let me change the first path of Hello API. Settings. And I will change the base path to /API/H. This is for Hello API. Port is still same. I will save and deploy. Now I will create a new API. Flex Gateway. I will choose the Flex Gateway. Click Next. Create new API. Greeting API. Type HTTP API. Okay, so I have to go to first Exchange and I have to delete this API that got created in previous step. So I'm deleting the greeting API from Exchange. So I should not get any issue. Now I will go to the API manager, add new API, Flex Gateway. I'll choose the Flex Gateway, create new API. I will give the name Greeting API, type HTTP API, click Next. Here port I will use same. I will use the base path API/G, G for greeting. Click Next. And here I will add the routing. So greeting API route. For the name, for upstream label, I will give the name greeting API. I will copy the path for upstream and I will remove the greeting. So I have 8092/API/. Click Next. So I'm using same port 8081. I'm just differentiating based on base path. So based on base path, I'm able to have the different APIs because my base path is different. Save and deploy. Okay, so I have now two APIs, Hello API and Greeting API, and both are using 8081 port. 8081 for Hello API and for Greeting API 8081. So both APIs are using same port. Now let me access it. So I will access Greeting API on 8081/API/G greeting. Greeting, hi there, this is Greeting API. Similarly, I will use Hello API on the same port. Hello. Hello there, this is Hello API. So this is the way you can have the same port, same Flex Gateway port, and you can have more than one APIs. And you can have different API policies applied on both APIs. So I will apply the policy on greeting API. So this is greeting API. I will apply policy, add policy. So here I will apply basic authentication. I will give the username Spring Boot G and same password. Apply. Now this policy should have been applied now or is going to apply. Okay, let me go to the browser. G greeting, click enter. So we can see that now this greeting is also secured and we have to provide username password. Sign in. Now we are able to see the response. Similarly, we can apply the rate limiting on greeting API as well. Add policy, rate limiting, click next. So hello API, we gave number of requests 2. I will give number of requests 4 here in 1 minute, and then it should reject the request. Expose header, apply. So this will be downloaded here. Okay, policy has been downloaded in Flex Gateway. Now if I will use greeting API, first call, good, second call, we got response, third call, we got response, fourth call, we got response, fifth call, failed. So this API is failing now when we calling fifth time within a minute, but hello API is failing when we are calling third time in a minute. Policies are applied on both the APIs. So we secured both the APIs, both the Spring Boot APIs. So hello API and greeting API is secured now, and we can see that matrix also getting collected. We have these charts, total request over time, total policy violation over time, errors over time, average response time. So our APIs, that is not Mule APIs, it is Spring Boot APIs are secured and they are getting monitored. So matrix also getting collected. FluentBit collects the matrix and logs. We are able to see the matrix chart here. So this is how you can secure the non-Mule API. In this example, in this demo, I showed you how to secure and how to manage and how to monitor the Spring Boot APIs using Anypoint Flex Gateway. I hope you understood how to register the Flex Gateway in a connected mode and how to run the Flex Gateway, how to manage and secure your APIs using Flex Gateway. This is all in this video. If you like this video, click the like button and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.